Welcome to Quick Bite, your fast and friendly Florida insurance
Hello, hello, hello. This is Rashonda, agency owner of the ISOM Insurance Group here in the Sunshine State of Florida, back again with another Quick Bite episode, your fast and informative insurance market update. Today is Saturday, July the 11th, 2026. Well, we have officially made it through another 4th of July. Hopefully, everyone still has all 10 fingers after lighting those fireworks. And hopefully, nobody called their insurance company because Uncle Bob decided to launch fireworks from the back of the pickup truck. Trust me, I've been in insurance long enough to know that every holiday creates at least a few stories that start with, "You're not going to believe what happened." Today, we're talking about something much more exciting than fireworks. We're talking about money, specifically money staying in your pocket, because after several years of discussing rising premiums, insurance companies leaving Florida, and a market that seemed to be headed in the wrong direction, we're finally seeing measurable improvements. The first full week of July has brought some of the biggest changes we've seen all year. Citizens' rate reductions are officially taking effect. Auto insurance companies, auto insurance competition is heating up. Property tax rules have quietly changed, and social media has somehow convinced thousands of people that laws pass that actually never pass. So today we're separating fact from fiction, because in insurance, bad information can almost always be as expensive as bad coverage. Let's jump in. July feels different. One thing I've noticed over the past several weeks is that the conversations in my office have started changing. Last year, nearly every conversation began with, "Why is my insurance going up?" Now I'm hearing something different. "My renewal wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. Can you compare my policy again?" I heard citizens' rates went down. Those are conversations I haven't heard very often over the past several years. And while we're certainly not back to the insurance market many people remember from 15 or 20 years ago, we are moving in a much healthier direction. That's important. Insurance markets don't recover overnight. They're more like planting an oak tree than growing grass. The improvements happen slowly, then suddenly everyone noticed the shade. Let's begin with the biggest news. Citizens Property Insurance officially implemented its approved rate reductions on July the 1st. That means homeowners renewing their Citizens policies this month may actually see lower premiums than they paid last year. Now, I know somebody just paused this video to go find their renewal packet, and honestly, that's not a bad idea. The approved statewide average reduction is approximately 8.8% for multi-peril homeowner policies, when only policies are averaging approximately a 5.5% decrease. That's significant. For years, we've talked about increases. Now we're finally discussing decreases, and that feels pretty refreshing. What does an 8.8% decrease really mean? Let's make this practical. Suppose your Citizens premium last year was $4,000. An average reduction of 8.8% would lower that premium by roughly $350. Now, before anyone starts shopping for a cruise vacation, remember, insurance premiums are individualized. Your actual renewal depends on different factors: replacement costs, roof condition, claims history, changes to your home, discount eligibility, inflation adjustments. So don't assume every homeowner receives exactly the same reduction. But statewide, this is the first meaningful positive movement many homeowners have seen in years. Why are rates coming down? That naturally leads to another question: why now? It's actually the result of several different improvements happening at the same time. Insurance companies are paying less for reinsurance. We talked about that before in another video. Citizens has dramatically reduced its policy count. Property insurance lawsuits continue declining. More private insurance companies are competing for business. Financial reserves are stronger. When all those things happen together, the market becomes healthier. Healthier markets usually produce better pricing. It's basic economics. If 5 restaurants open on the same road, competition increases, customers benefit, insurance works much the same way. Another interesting detail involves South Florida. For years, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties experienced some of the highest premium increases anywhere in the state. That's if you even could find a carrier that was willing to write down there. Those same areas are now seeing some of the largest localized decreases. Why? Because that's where litigation improvements have had some of the greatest impact. Remember, insurance pricing reflects risk. As perceived risk improves, pricing often follows. That's exactly what we're beginning to witness. Does this mean you should just stay with Citizens? Now, here's a question I receive almost every week. Rashonda, if Citizens lower rates, should I just stay with them? My answer is exactly the same as it always been. Maybe, maybe not. Every situation is different. Sometimes Citizens truly offers the best value. Other times, private carriers become more competitive. Sometimes one company offers better coverage. Sometimes another offers better pricing. Sometimes the deductible structure makes more sense. That's why independent agents exist. We compare, we don't guess. Shopping your insurance every renewal is becoming more valuable because the marketplace is changing quickly. Now, let's move from homeowners insurance to auto insurance. This may actually be the biggest story for Florida drivers. The Florida Office of Insurance Regulation confirmed that the largest insurance companies in the state have now achieved an approximately an 8% average decrease across the marketplace. Think about that. The top 5 insurance groups represent nearly 78% of Florida drivers are now charging less than they were previously. When was the last time you heard insurance and price wars used in the same sentence? Probably not very often, especially here in Florida. Usually we hear things like premiums are increasing, claim costs are rising, expect another rate hike. This time, competition is driving prices downward. That is excellent news. What has caused the auto market to improve? Much like homeowners insurance, several factors work together. Insurance fraud declined, lawsuits declined, vehicle repair costs stabilized compared to previous years. More than 40 insurance companies filed rate reductions during the past 12 months. 40, 40. That is crazy. That's not one company trying to gain market share. That's an entire marketplace becoming more competitive. When dozens of companies lower prices simultaneously, that's a market trend, not a marketing promotion. Here's something we recently experienced in our agency. A customer called expecting another increase. Honestly, they had mentally prepared themselves for it. Instead, their premium actually decreased. The first thing they asked was, "Are you sure?" I laughed and told them, "Believe me, if I could personally lower everyone's insurance premiums, I'll probably be the most popular insurance agent in Florida." But that's becoming more common. Not every policy, not every company, not every driver, but enough to recognize that something meaningful is happening. Now, before you think you never need to compare insurance again, please don't. Competition changes constantly. One company that was expensive 6 months ago might become one of the most competitive today. Another company may become less competitive next renewal. Insurance pricing changes continuously. Your coverage should be reviewed regularly, not because you're doing something wrong, but because the marketplace keeps changing. And that's one of our value propositions here in our agency. For all our customers, we automatically remarket your policy. So we automatically, when you're coming up for renewal, do that for you so that you can just make sure, hey, am I still getting the best rate, or is there another carrier in the market that may be offering a better, more competitive rate? So far today, we've talked about good news, rate reductions, competition, improving markets. But now we need to discuss something almost nobody is talking about, a property tax law that quietly took effect, and several viral social media posts that are completely wrong. Because sometimes the biggest insurance problems don't come from bad policies, they come from bad information. SB4F is already changing property taxes. So now let's switch gears for a moment, because while everyone has been talking about the proposed $250,000 homestead exemption that will be on the November ballot, something else has already become law. And honestly, it hasn't received nearly enough attention. That law is Senate Bill 4F. Now, before anyone says, wait a minute, I thought we were voting on property taxes in November. You're right. You are. But that's a completely different proposal. SB4F is already law. It's already affecting local governments, and many homeowners don't even realize it. Here's what it does. For years, cities and counties had flexibility when calculating their property tax rates. One of those calculations allowed local governments to adjust maximum millage rates using personal income growth. SB4F removes that adjustment. In plain English, cities and counties can no longer quietly increase property tax rates simply because personal income statistics increase. Instead, local governments are now required to build their budgets using much stricter calculations. That they want to exceed what's called the rolled back rate, and now requires a 2/3 majority vote. That's a much higher hurdle. Think of it like your household budget. Imagine your family decides next year you can't automatically spend more money just because you received a raise. Instead, everyone in the house has agreed or agreed before increasing expenses. That's essentially what Florida lawmakers required local governments to do. Now, you might be wondering, how does this affect me? The biggest impact will likely show up in August. That's when many homeowners receive their TRIM notices. TRIM stands for Truth and Millage. These notices show proposed property taxes before they're finalized. Because of S as in Sam, B as in boy, F4F, many cities and counties are now working through budget reductions. Instead of automatically increasing tax rates, that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's property taxes will decrease. Your home's assessed value still matters. New construction still matters, special assessments still matter, but the law creates downward pressure on future tax rates. Think of it as putting a tighter lid on the pot. The water may still boil, but it's harder for it to spill over. Now, here's where things have gotten confusing. I've had customers call the office asking, so did the $250,000 exemption already pass? No, not yet. That constitutional amendment is still headed to Florida voters in November. If approved by at least 60% of voters, it would dramatically increase the homestead exemption for county and city taxes beginning in 2027. But that's a future proposal. SB4F is today's reality. Two completely different laws, two different timelines. And unfortunately, social media has mixed them together. Can we have an honest conversation? Sometimes I think social media is like that one neighbor who always starts every sentence with, I heard, I heard they're banning this. I heard everybody's getting free insurance. I heard your HOA can disappear overnight. And after about 5 minutes, you're thinking, where exactly did you hear this? because it certainly wasn't from the legislator. Every July, my office starts getting calls about things people read online. Sometimes they're true, sometimes not so much. This year has been especially interesting. Myth number one: 20% of homeowners can now dissolve an HOA. No, that is not law. There were viral posts claiming that beginning July 1st, 20% of homeowners could sign a petition and dissolve their homeowners association. That never became law. The legislation died during session. Traditional Chapter 720 HOA rules remain in effect. So if someone shares that post with you, you can politely let them know that's old information. Myth number two: new roof rules started July the 1st. This one may have generated even more confusion. Post claimed that homeowners received expanded roof protections beginning July the 1st. Others claimed brand new inspectors were authorized. Neither happened. The proposed legislation failed. Nothing changed July the 1st. However, here's the good news: Florida homeowners still have the protections passed several years ago. Insurance companies cannot refuse to issue or renew coverage solely because of the roof age. If a roof inspection shows that the roof has at least 5 years remaining useful life, that's still the law. That's still protecting homeowners. Nothing changed on July the 1st, so don't panic if you read otherwise. Here's why I'm spending time talking about rumors. Insurance decisions are expensive. Imagine someone cancels a policy because they read something inaccurate online, or they delay replacing a roof because they misunderstood a new law, or they assume their HOA no longer exists. These aren't harmless misunderstandings. They can have real financial consequences. That's why I've always encouraged people to verify information before making decisions. And if you aren't sure, call your insurance agent. That's literally what we're here for. So let's step back and look at the big picture. Where does Florida insurance market stand today? Citizens is reducing premiums. Auto insurance competition continues increasing. Private companies are writing more business. Property tax reform is already affecting local government budgets. And despite all the noise online, most of the biggest rumors simply aren't true. Overall, the market feels healthier than it has in several years. Are we finished? Absolutely not. Florida will always face hurricanes, construction costs continue changing, inflation still affects replacement costs, technology continues making vehicles more expensive to repair. But today, we're talking about state stability, not crisis. And as someone who has spent years helping Florida families navigate one of the toughest insurance markets in the country, that is encouraging. So, what should homeowners actually do after everything we discussed today? First, review your renewal when it arrives. Don't assume your premium automatically increase. Second, if you're insured with Citizens or another carrier, compare your options. Competition is changing quickly. Third, don't make insurance decisions based on Facebook posts. I promise the comment section is rarely a reliable legal resource. Finally, stay informed. Insurance changes constantly. The more you understand your coverage, the better decisions you'll make for yourself and your family. So always come back to my channel. You'll hear what the real is that's going on in the Florida insurance market. I often tell customers that insurance isn't exciting until you need it. The same is true with insurance legislation. Most people don't pay attention until they receive a renewal notice or experience a claim or hear a rumor online. My goal with these quick bite episodes is to help explain what's really happening without all the confusing legal language, because informed consumers make better insurance decisions. And that's good for everyone. If today's quick bite episode helped you better understand the latest Florida insurance market changes and separated fact from fiction, then that's exactly what I hope to accomplish. Insurance laws, market trends, and regulatory changes affect the industry in ways most people never see until they receive their renewal notices or file a claim. If you would like to review your current policy or request a quote, please visit our website at isuminsurancegroup.com, which is also, I think, right down here on the screen. Preparation always beats regret. If you found this episode helpful, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, and drop a comment below with which with any topics you would like for me to cover in any future episode. And also, address this question: what surprised you the most today? The citizens rate cuts, the auto insurance price competitions, or the property tax changes already taking effect? I love to hear your thoughts. Quick Bite episodes now drop every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. This video is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, tax, or specific insurance advice. Please consult a licensed insurance professional regarding your unique situation. This is Rashonda with the ISOM Insurance Group here in sunny Florida. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next Saturday for another Quick Bite episode. Stay safe out there. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Visit us at isuminsurancegroup.com.